Hello, my name is Paul, or Paul Erik. I'm a Dane, and I'm a guide here in Denmark. Different places. I work professional as a freelance teacher and guide. And from Aarhus I have this tour here which has focused on the Viking Age and the transmission from an old pagan society into a Christian society, and also the transmission from a country divided up in several small areas into a national state. The farmstead there is a copy of an archaeological excavation which was made, so it's a model of a Viking farmstead from the Viking time where a rich man lived. There are many houses, many big houses, and also there's a place where the blacksmith of the village could stay, so it was a good business for the farmer there. And this Viking center near Fyrkat is also a place where different activities find place. Today, for example, we could see people working with thread. We could taste some homemade bread, we could taste some meat, and there were also some people cooking there. And these people are all volunteers, different groups working there at this Viking center. And we never know who are there when we come here, so it's always interesting to see what is happening. Also at the Viking center, the farmstead, there's a mythological playground because the people behind the area also tries to focus on the old Nordic religion. And as you probably know, the Nordic religion has had a big influence a big impact on Scandinavia and the northern countries. There we have moved now to the fortress, the Viking fortress of Fyrkat. And Fyrkat is a ring fortress. It's a circular fortress, 120 meters in diameter. It's built at the in the bottom of a fjord, a long fjord, 35 kilometers approximately. That is 23 miles. And it was practical for the Vikings to build their fortresses there, because then they could take their ships into the village, into the fortress. The fortress is interesting because we don't know why the fortress was built. We know that around 980 there was a huge building activity among the Vikings, and probably the idea was that the king who had recently established the state of Denmark, his name was Harald Bluetooth, that he wanted to show his power. He wanted to show that he had actually built up a nation, and therefore probably he built these 5 ring fortresses, different places in the empire. There were also other buildings, other big constructions from that time, so that could have been one of the reasons for it. We know that people have lived in the ring fortress, and we also know, actually found out now recently, that also more common people have lived there, because we found graves, and not only graves from men or warriors, but also graves from women and children. So it's always fascinating to work with a period of history where you don't have that much documentation, because then you can imagine yourself life. There's a copy of a house from that period built near the fortress, and with this in your mind you can kind of visualize yourself how the fortress has looked previously, when there was this palisade around the fortress to defend the fortress, the gates obviously being closed if the enemy came, and then the houses, the 16 big houses inside the fortress. In the 11th and 12th century, 15 to 1600 of these old Romanist churches were built in Denmark, white chalk churches. And this is one of them. The reason we visit this one is that it has some very beautiful frescoes, and these frescoes are the artist who have painted them has selected the scenes he wanted to depict, and in that way he tells in a very strict way the gospel. And also in a fantastic way, in his paintings he includes the congregation in what he is showing people. So this church shows the transition from the old paganism or the old Nordic religion into Christianity.